Coach Floyd, Team Us LLC. Someone asked me what made Ali the greatest of all time. Now, I'm not saying Ali was the greatest of all time in my opinion, but Ali was great, and I'm going to tell you in my opinion why he was great. Ali had so many flaws. You know, he kept his hands down. He never threw body punches. He couldn't really fight on the inside. But he used the tools that God gave him. He used his reflexes and his speed and his mind to win the Olympics and win these fights and become a multiple heavyweight champion. You know, Ali was brilliant with that. You know, he used the gifts that he was given. And that's what helped him to become great. Because if somebody fight with their hands down and only use a jab and a straight right and fast feet, and win and beat these great champions that he beat, you know, you are God gifted at that point, you know. And one thing I have to say is we have to give credit to his trainer, Angelo Dundee, because Angelo identified that just to perfect what this kid had. A lot of times as coaches, we try to change these kids and give them rules that was programmed within us. Keep your hands up, do certain things. And sometimes we don't see that these kids are God gifted, and just to perfect what these kids have, you know, and what these adults have, what these fighters have. And Angelo was able to identify, just let me perfect what he have. Let me not change him too much. And it worked for them. And that's what made Ali great. His reflexes and his flaws is what made him great. Him being an imperfect fighter that turned around and became a great champion. That's what made him great. And then we can't also forget what he stood for. That's what made him great. His moral beliefs, you know, because sometimes we get wrapped up in the fame and the this, and we become something other than ourselves. But he was true to himself with his fighting style and with his beliefs. And that's what made Ali great, in my opinion. Once again, this is Coach Floyd, Team Us LLC, and I thank you for tuning in. Floyd Schofield from Team Us LLC. So what makes boxing a science? Well, first let's define science. Now, the definition for science is the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experimentation. So with that being said, the boxing is, you have to study your opponent. Like, for instance, when you enter a boxing match, the first thing is you need to find out what style are they using. Are they outboxing, boxer puncher, a slugger? You know, you have to find out if they first doing that. Are they in a 3 zone, a 2 zone, a 4 zone? What zone is they fighting out of? What is their weapons? And you have to figure all of that out as fast as possible so you could take away their weapons and capitalize on their flaws. So you need to figure out their weapon and figure out their flaws, figure out their stance, figure out their foot position.